Hey, chemistry students. So for today, you are going to continue on in your lesson here. We're going to move on to lesson 6.6. So let's take a look at the concepts that we want to review in today's lesson. So again, another short one, just a couple of them here. So the first one is that substances react chemically in characteristic ways. So we're going to be looking at some different substances and seeing how they react to other chemicals. If a chemical reaction does occur or doesn't occur, and what type of chemical reaction. Is it a color change? Is it gas? Is it, smell? Something like that. And then a set of reactions can also be used to identify an unknown substance, and that's what we're going to be working on today is trying to get some data down, some examples, and then use that data to take a look at what the identity of an unknown substance that you've already would have been using is. So as I back out to your chapter 6, lesson 6, this is the one that you should be on. So this one is titled, like I said, using chemical changes to identify an unknown. Here in this demonstration video that I'm going to show you, we are going to be using a lot of different like white kind of powder. Probably looks bad, but hold on here. Like I said, lots of different types of white powder and trying to see if there's any differences between them. So here we have baking soda and cornstarch, and you can see I have the same amount in both cups. They both are a white powder. I guess maybe the cornstarch has a little bit of a yellowish tinge to it, maybe. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use another chemical called iodine. Iodine is a chemical that's often used in testing, and here's what it looks like. Oops, pause that here. So iodine, it has kind of an amber, orangish, brownish color to it. A lot of times I refer to it as amber. I don't know why, but it's always the color that I was kind of taught. So that's the initial color of the iodine solution here. So I have, I might see a chemical reaction with one or both or none of these different types of powder. So I want to see what happens here when I add iodine to both of these. So you can see when we add it to the baking soda, we don't see much change. I'm stirring it a little bit, but again, not enough change to really any color change. It just looks a little bit more diluted. And here as we add it to the cornstarch, we see a significant color change right away. I know I added a little bit more, but it still doesn't matter. All right, so as I bring this closer, it looks black. It's actually kind of a dark purple. And I think when I pick up the cup, you can maybe see it a little bit. So yeah, kind of a dark blackish, bluish purple is how we kind of always describe it. So that is an indicator that something tells me that iodine and starch have a reaction to each other, cornstarch in this case. But iodine and baking soda, they don't react with each other. There's no color change that happens there. So as I go back and look at these questions here, number 1, your teacher poured iodine solution on top of 2 white powders. How do you know that these 2 similar looking powders are really different? So how do I know that, they weren't the same? Obviously you could see they weren't the same names, but how, evidence-wise, what shows that they weren't the same? So go ahead and answer that. Pause the video if you need to. Number 2, adding the iodine solution to one powder caused a physical change, while adding the iodine solution to another powder caused a chemical change. So first of all, you want to agree with that statement. you know, as far as the physical change just means like a change in state. You know, maybe it goes from sort of a solid to sort of a solution or a liquid, and that's what happened with the baking powder. And with the cornstarch, though, we definitely had a chemical change. And so use that evidence. Make sure you answer the how do you know one was a physical change and one was a chemical change. You know, use your background information to answer those. So pause the video there so you give yourself time to do that. Okay, and then onto the activity. So for the activity today, you're going to use characteristic reactions of objects to see how similar substances kind of look, and are they really different here. So again, the bunch of different materials that you're going to need. We're going to be using 4 different white powders. They're all kind of used in sort of the what I call kitchen chemistry, which is like stuff you probably have at home. Some of the solutions you probably don't have at home, but you'll kind of get the idea here. So I want to fix a couple things in your notes, so I want you to kind of follow this quick here. So this chart I want you to cross off. We're not using this, and I don't want you to get confused and start putting information in there, so go ahead and cross that off. And then you have the chart that you actually need to fill in is located a few pages down, and you have 2 of them, and they look almost exactly the same, except the top one says testing chart and the bottom one says results chart. What I would like you to do is get rid of the testing chart. Just delete that altogether, that whole slide. So this is, for me, it's slide or page number 29. So I'm going to click those 3 buttons there, and I'm going to hit delete page. And then I'm going to take this one here, and I'm going to, I'm going to slide that up a couple. That's where I want to put it. Yes, I'll put it there. So you're going to move that results table under the one that you crossed off here. So hopefully you understood how to kind of do that, maneuver that. Okay, let me just kind of walk you through the directions as I narrate the video here for us. Okay, so hold on here. Whoa, stop. Okay, so I did a time-lapse video of me adding all these 4 substances to our chart. So this is the chart that I have it laminated here, so you can kind of be reused. So I just I did a time-lapse video here to show you. I'm sure you really thought I was that fast, but I'm not going to try to rewind it. You kind of get the idea here. So I took baking soda and I put about the same amount on each in each row there going down. I took baking powder, did the same. I took cream of tartar sauce, and I also did the same, and you'll see some close-ups of these boxes if you're not sure. And then I did cornstarch and did the same too. So these are the 4 different substances, known substances that I have. And then I have different solutions over here that I'm going to do a test with. And you're going to have to record down the results and that information. And so if I look here, okay. So I think I can play this one. Okay. So our first test solution is going to be water. So this is just water, nothing special about it. This next one here is vinegar. You all know what that is. So we're going to add vinegar, a few drops to each one of those. This one here, the third one, is iodine. That is the same one that we used in the demonstration. And then this is called an indicator. It is sometimes known as a universal indicator or a pH indicator. It usually indicates acidity, so like pH level. Now, as I was doing this lab, I kind of thought that maybe my indicator here is old or Actually, I know it's old. The bottle, I think, said it was from like, I don't know, like really old, like 70s maybe. I don't even know. So I'm thinking that there's a couple results that didn't quite pan out. And so I might redo those as a kind of a quick add-on lesson at the end of this in another part of the video. So just kind of expect that maybe. But some parts of it did work. So I don't know. I just have to try to find a different one tomorrow and see if it will work a little bit better. Okay. So here you're going to kind of watch as I add this to it, and you're going to record your results. So let me just back out here quick. So you are going to record your results in this table here. What am I looking for? If nothing happens, you can put no change. No change. Okay. And then if something does happen, like bubbles, gas produced, anything like that, you can write that in there. If there's a color change that happens, you can write that. But otherwise, it'll be no change for most of, for anyone that doesn't. Okay, and some of them might do two things. Some you might get some bubbling and a color change. So our first one here is going to be water and baking soda. And you can kind of see as I zoom in there, no change for that one. Next we have vinegar and baking soda. Not a surprise here. We should know that that does bubble. There's gas produced, so lots of bubbling you can put for that one. This is iodine, so iodine and baking soda. It doesn't look like we see much of a color change there. And then that was the indicator solution. So you can see the indicator solution starts off as kind of like a reddish color. When I add it to baking soda, it changes to sort of a kind of a dark blue, greenish blue. You can see it kind of mixing in a little bit there. So going down in your chart, you should have no change for baking soda. Vinegar, you should have bubbling. Lots of bubbling occurs. Iodine, no change because it's pretty much the same amber color. And for the indicator, you should have something about turns blue, dark blue, greenish blue, something like that. All right, so I'm going to move on to baking powder. So this is baking powder and water. Baking soda is always usually an orange box. Baking powder is usually in a little can. So baking powder and water, does look like there's some bubbling. So you want to record that, some bubbling for baking powder and water. Baking powder and vinegar, lots of bubbling. This is baking powder and, I'll just pause the video there. This is baking powder and the iodine. And for this one, you'll actually see two things happening. Obviously, you see the color change. It's went from, you know, that amber color to black or dark purple. Also notice that it should bubble a little bit too. So you can see that moving there. So for that one, we have turned black, dark blue, and then also bubbling. Now I'm going to have you hold off on recording the color for this last one here. A lot of you might say orange right away. I want you to notice that there is some color change happening here as you let it sit a little bit longer. So I'm going to rewind myself a little bit here. So we'll come back and kind of look at that maybe at the end of the thing here. But like I said, that might be one that I redo tomorrow anyways, just to make sure my solution's working okay. So we're going to move on to cream of tartar. So cream of tartar and water. So I see no change. Cream of tartar and vinegar, no change. Cream of tartar and iodine, no change. And again, this is cream of tartar and the indicator. So let's let that one kind of sit a little bit too, just to see. Take a look here. You know, you can kind of look back at the baking powder one. So it does have kind of an orangish green. You can probably put for the color. This one, again, the indicator solution is kind of a dark red, and this one did, the cream of tartar here does kind of go to like an orangish color. It really should be like a pink color, which is why, like I said, I think it might be a little bit old. So I'm gonna have to try that again tomorrow, but otherwise you can just kind of record down that orange color for that. Okay, and then the last row here to fill in for the known substances is cornstarch. So we have cornstarch and water coming. Now you can see a couple bubbles right away. I try to poke those because those are just air bubbles from the pipette, not from this. So no change for cornstarch. This is vinegar, no change for vinegar, no bubbling or anything like that, so we can just write no change. Here's the iodine. Okay, we definitely do see some color. I do not see the bubbling though. So the only thing I can record down for this one for cornstarch is that it changes color or changes to purple or something like that. You can write, or dark black, something along those lines, but you can't include bubbling though because there is no bubbling. Okay, and then the solution here. So you can see that other one, the cream of tartar, did kind of get pretty orange. Again, you can see the baking powder also got pretty green as well. The cornstarch, let's see if that changes at all. I think I stir it a little bit, but I think it pretty much is about the same color as the cream of tartar, sort of maybe just a darker orange. Okay, so your whole chart here should be filled in except for the unknown one. So all of this should be filled in with the information that we talked about. Okay, now we want to do an unknown test. So what this is going to be is I'm going to be given a sample of one of these four. It's going to be either baking soda, baking powder, cream of tartar, or cornstarch. It's going to be one of those four. And so I'm going to just lay it out like I did before and do all the tests, and then I'm going to compare that unknown results to the other four to see which one it is. Okay, so there is my unknown, again, one of these four powders. I'm just taking a little bit, putting it on. It's like I did, not as fast this time. Because all these are white powders, right? So they're all hard to guess just based on appearance. So we can do tests like this to kind of figure it out. So first I'll do my water. You are going to want to also record these results, before I forget, in your table as well. So put all of these in this last column, right here, this column that I'm writing in. All of those go here, okay? Looks like I crossed that off, sorry. But that's the column that you're filling out right now, so you're filling out your results for that. All right, so this is water. It's a little bit hard to see, but it is bubbling. So we do have some bubbling going on, so you'll want to write bubbling for water. Here's vinegar. It does bubble as well. Here's my iodine. So I get bubbling and a color change. So I get bubbling and it turns to brown. And then initially I have sort of an orangish color, but you can see as you kind of let it go here, it starts to turn more greenish. I think I stir it a little bit too to, you can see that process keep going. Okay, so based on these results, which one of the four do you think it is? Do you think it's baking soda, baking powder, or cream of tartar, or cornstarch? So go ahead and answer question 3. What is the identity of the unknown? Pick one of the four, whichever one you think it matches with the best. And then what observations led you to your conclusion? So I want you to tell me, don't just say one thing. I want you to explain, how the unknown was similar to whatever sample you picked or whatever known sample you picked for it to be. Okay, I'm going to stop this video here, and you'll have to find the video for part 2.